Hello, friends. This is Justin Jones with the Whitney Chamber of Commerce, and we have a special guest today. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, I thought you had a special guest, but I think you just have me. My name is Brad Slaten. I'm the pastor at the United Methodist Church, King Memorial United Methodist Church here in Whitney, and also Blum United Methodist Church out in the big city of Blum. I'm a circuit rider, but unlike the pioneer days, they don't make me ride a horse back and forth between the two churches.
Well, that's nice, right?
Well, it might be kind of nice to ride a horse, but I wouldn't want to adjust worship time, so I'd have a little more time to get there.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What brought you here to the area?
Oh, what brought me here is, like any other United Methodist pastor, is what we call an appointment. And in the United Methodist Church, well, in a lot of churches, we're familiar with what they call a call process. It's sort of an interview process where when you want a new pastor, or when you need a new pastor, you have several people come in and you try to find out the one that fits the church the best. In the United Methodist Church, we are appointed. So we have a group that consists of the bishop of our conference and the district superintendents, and they send us to where we go. And so the church doesn't get to select their pastor, nor does the pastor get to select the church that they go to. They just look at all of the churches in the entire conference, and every church gets a pastor. And so they determine who has the best fit, and they put that person where they believe that they will serve the mission field the best. So I was sent here.
Very cool.
Which is it's not a bad thing, Justin. I'll say that.
No, you wound up in the right place, I think.
I think so.
Did you work at any other churches before you came here?
Oh yeah, I've been in the ministry as a pastor, I want to say, for about 14 years now, and so this is my fourth. I have to stop and count. Fourth church that I've served, and they've been Rogers, First Methodist Church in Rogers. From there, I went to Bruceville Eddy United Methodist Church. Then I went to Coleman, and then from Coleman, I came here, serving about 4 years at every time that I unpacked. They let us stay there for about 4 years, and that's not always the case, but that's been my average so far.
I see. So you're thinking at some point you'll probably have to pack up again and go somewhere, I suppose.
We could worry about that, but that doesn't do any good whatsoever. So every time I go, it's like, this is it. I'm going to retire at this place. And then if they move us, well, we don't really have any control over that anyway. So I always figure I'm here until I'm gone, and that may not ever happen. Hopefully that won't ever happen. I'll just be able to stay here and retire out on the lake somewhere. That there are worse things than this. I mean, seriously.
Definitely. So what got you into the ministry?
Oh, I actually got a call to ministry when I was 17 years old. But I'm originally from Arkansas, so if you need me to call the hogs, let me know. Not a problem. Happy to do it for you. But I grew up in Arkansas and in the Cumberland Presbyterian Church. Now, we have a Cumberland Presbyterian Church here. We have a building that's left over. A lot of people don't know what that is. It's a very small denomination. And so I got the call to ministry when I was 17 years old at a youth rally. And I'm like, God, you got to be out of, this is crazy. I'm not going to be a pastor. I'm in a small nowhere denomination. I'm really, everyone's telling me I need to go to college and study computer science or math or something like that. And so, no, I'm not going to do that. And I very successfully ran from God for the next, I don't know how long, 20, 25 years. So I was pretty good at it. God can find us though. And maybe I wasn't as good at hiding as I thought I was. I think God found Moses and God found me. And I was, by the time he found me though, I had already been working for about 20 years in the high-tech industry. So actually, he knew I was in the high-tech industry. He didn't, but I was working in the high-tech industry and as a software developer, writing real-time software for AT&T Bell Laboratories for a while, worked for Southwestern Bell. From there, I did a quick tour through IBM and then ended up at a startup company that was ultimately acquired by Hewlett-Packard. So starting out, an Arkansas boy, that actually I didn't go to the University of Arkansas. I went to Arkansas Tech University, which is the home of the mascot. Yep, the Wonder Boys. I kid you not. They are the Wonder Boys. And the Wonder Boy actually looks, I don't know if you've seen Dudley Do-Right. He kind of looks like Dudley Do-Right with the square chin and everything. And Wonder Boys are great. And no, the women were not the Wonder Girls. They were the Golden Sons. But that's where I did my undergraduate work. And then from there, we went on to Oklahoma State, OSU Cowboys. And so we went to Oklahoma State. That's not real popular with a lot of Baylor people around here. I'm not sure.
Can't imagine why.
Oklahoma State, studied computer science in both, have a undergraduate degree in computer science from Arkansas Tech, have a graduate degree in computing and information sciences from Oklahoma State, up in Stillwater. Not that other smaller school down in Norman. We don't talk about them very much. But we went from Stillwater, Arkansas boy, moved to New Jersey. And so we lived in New Jersey for about 3 years, working with Bell Laboratories. And yes, that is the company that invented the transistor. Justin, if you don't know what a transistor is, go look it up. But anyway, They invented the transistor that is the basis for all modern electronic technology.
Man.
And so that was the company. It's probably kind of cool to work there. But my daughter started saying chocolate and coffee. And I thought, it's time to get this kid back in the South.
Yeah.
So we moved and went to work for Southwestern Bell.
Cool. I bet New Jersey was probably kind of a culture shock when you got there too.
Oh, for an Arkansas boy, not at all. I mean, we fit just hand in glove. It was
no problem at all, right?
No problem at all. It's not an issue. We lived actually a couple of years ago. Hurricane Sandy just totally demolished the central part of New Jersey. That's where we lived. And so when they were showing that all on TV, my wife and I, my wife's name is Amanda, we were like, wow, that we know these places. And as we were watching the destruction, it was really bizarre because that is right where we lived. We lived in the hometown of Bruce Springsteen, the boss.
Oh, wow.
So Freehold, New Jersey, claim to fame, Bruce Springsteen's hometown. There you go.
Man. And it got hit hard, huh?
It really did. And it was really kind of sad to see a lot of older buildings and a lot of things like that, they weren't built to withstand that. And it really hit a lot of, it did a lot of damage there. But, they get hurricanes on the East Coast. We get tornadoes here. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, take your pick.
Well, at least you know a hurricane's coming, right?
You can pretty much see that a couple of days. Tornadoes, not so much. In fact, the one we had here in Whitney in 2016 that kind of went down 17-13 down there. Mm-hmm. It's very, very little warning on that. But thankfully, the United Methodist Church, King Memorial United Methodist Church, was able to jump in on some of that. We have an organization in the United Methodist Church called the United Methodist Committee on Relief. And so we're not first responders, but we're usually, some of our coordinators say we're last responders. We're like the last people to leave. So we help people tarp roofs so that they can keep the leaks out. We help people file for insurance claims. We'll try to tell them, be careful what you do before you take pictures. Don't touch anything. Make sure it's all recorded so that they can collect on their insurance when they need to do that. We also have, we had a couple of chainsaw teams. Now, we weren't Team Rubicon. I mean, those guys are like hardcore. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, if anybody doesn't know Team Rubicon, they are my heroes. They are awesome. And they came in and just attacked the debris out there after the tornado. But we had a couple of chainsaw teams that came in and helped people kind of clean up the aftermath. So we were pretty proud of that group. We don't get the publicity that, the Texas Baptist men. Hey, but we have women also. So there you go. And our women know how to use front end loaders, backhoes, and chainsaws.
That's
so
awesome.
Boom, baby.
So since you brought that up, tell us a little bit about the church and what else do they have going on within the community? Because I know that there's a few programs. If you just like to expound on any of those and let us know, just kind of, if you just want to bring awareness to it or what's going on.
Oh, no, thanks. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, it's like, yeah, no, don't make me talk about my passion here. I would hate to do that. So, A lot of people know us, know King Memorial United Methodist Church, and I'm going to talk primarily about King Memorial. Blum has some interesting things going out there, but they're much smaller, and so most of what we're doing is going to be out of King Memorial here
Okay.
in Whitney. And it's so funny. Some people say, "Is King Memorial United Methodist Church is that new?" And I'll just say, well, we do have a new building. It was built in 1901. So it hasn't been here very long. So you may not know where it is, but we're at 502 North Colorado Street, I think it's Wilson and Colorado over there. And so the big thing that people know us for is going to be our thrift store. And that has been going on for way before me. I hope that it goes on way after I'm retired. I'm making that reference again, after I retire here, and they have someone else come in. It's that is our gem. We have the thrift store that what we do. The pastor before me said, "Hey, Brad, we got this thrift store," and I'm thinking, my mind went back to another. I guess I won't say the name of the other entity that has thrift stores, but it had that thrift store smell. You might say the bouquet. And
Yeah.
I kept thinking, oh boy, this is going to be great. And I went in and I saw great things. And they were telling me, oh, no, Brad, if we wouldn't wear it, if we would not have our children, our grandchildren wear it, if we would not have it in our house, we're not going to insult our customers and put it out on the shelves. You will not see it. And so what I didn't realize, you go in the front is like great. And you're like, wow, this is really kind of this little boutique department store thing. In the back are where all the worker bees are sorting through all the donations. And thank God for the donations. We appreciate everything that people donate. And we'll go through it. And the nice stuff, we'll go ahead and make sure that it's clean. It's got to be clean. We're not going to put anything dirty out.
Absolutely.
It's got to be clean. And they sort through it and they fold it and they mark it, they price it, and they put it out in the front. And people can come in. And I like to say that people can come in and leave with their dignity, because it's not like it's it's not gimme. It's not, oh, well, you poor little thing. We're gonna, none of that. We have a group of ladies from Burleson that make a monthly trip down just to see what treasures we have. And so, I mean, it's high quality stuff. So you can come in with your dignity. You can clean the place out for $75 pretty much. So it's not going to be a handout so much as affordable, again, top quality stuff that people can come in. I've had grandparents come to me and express how grateful they were that they were able to get what they needed for their custodial grandchildren, so that they look just like everybody else at school, so they could dress nicely, so they could have these things. The other thing we do with the thrift store is we get a lot of folks after fires, after storms, after even nasty divorces, things of that nature. We don't ask questions, but when people are in a bad way and they need some help, they come in and we help them out. People that are down on their luck, we will give them a certain amount. And I'm not in the management of the thrift store. I let the people that manage the thrift store manage the thrift store. I'm just the bouncer. I sit out front and greet people when they come in. But we have people, and they can, if you need clothing or whatever, they have it set up so you can come in on a rotating basis. I think it's once every 3 months, and they'll give you like a full set of clothes and things like that. But,
wow.
So that's one of the big things. So we're, if you can't tell, pretty passionate about the thrift store. But we started something else about a year ago that is equally as exciting to me, and that is our senior center. And we actually had the Chamber of Commerce came in. We did a ribbon cutting and opened it all up and everything. That's been, I want to say, a year in September now. So the COVID has really been messing with our celebrations on these things.
Yes, sir. But
we partnered with the same organization that does Meals on Wheels. It's called Heart of Texas. I don't remember the exact name, but they do Meals on Wheels, and we have them provide a hot lunch on Tuesdays, except during the COVID stuff. And they waved us off and said, nope, not going to do that. but we are open again. So if we have seniors out there, and we don't card you at the door. So if you're like 40 and you want to come hang out and do some stuff, that's okay. We don't card you at the door. No, you got to be 62 to get in. We don't do that.
That's it.
In fact, they love it when kids come by. We had some children come by, not this past week, but 2 weeks ago, and they were celebrating Veterans Day and had some little packages for our veterans. And it was just everyone loved. The kids had a great time. The seniors had a great time. They play dominoes. You have to wear a face covering. I mean, that is non-negotiable. Until this thing is over, you have to wear a face covering. Mm-hmm. And we do that all across if you're on King Memorial property, you're wearing a face covering, whether you're going to the thrift store, whether you're going to worship, whether you're going to Sunday school, senior center. If you're on King Memorial property, we require a face mask. And that is really, we look at it like, Jesus said, love your neighbor. I'm going to say, I think he meant that. And so one of the ways that we're loving our neighbors is covering our face, mm-hmm. so that if I sneeze, you don't get it. If you don't get the stuff that I'm sneezing out, you don't have to breathe that in. But we have safety in our senior center. We have face coverings, hand sanitizer when you walk in, we require social distance. But we've been doing crafts. We have a group that gloves up. I kid you not. They wear gloves, they put gloves on and play dominoes.
Cool.
They have, and I understand they say they could quit dominoes anytime they want. I have to go check occasionally and say, okay, is there not any money changing hands over here or anything? But it's a great group. They really have a good time.
That sounds great.
We've been doing crafts. We were doing chair yoga. And I think that's going to start back up again very soon. We had country line dancing that was going on. That packed the place. I mean, we really had a lot of people there. That's all BC before COVID. So we'd have a large group doing that. Crafts, we had, I told our craft coordinator that when she writes her book and has her TV show like Martha Stewart, that I want an autographed copy, because they are just amazing people with what they come up with.
Awesome.
So it's really been great. The senior center, possibly more than anywhere else right now, has helped people get out of that isolation, mm-hmm. that we're suffering from COVID. And a lot of our seniors, I mean, we've been told over and over and over that people over 65 are at high risk, and over and over and over. And so a lot of our seniors stay home, and we try to provide a very safe place that they can come and interact with people. Because isolation, COVID kills people, but so does isolation.
Yes, absolutely.
And we want to have a place where people can come.
You got to keep active at that age.
Well, you got to keep active at any age.
Well, that's true. That's true.
It's just maybe I think it gets a little easier when you get older. I'm getting there. I don't like to think I'm not there yet, so don't comment on that one. But I like to think I'm not there yet. But you're right. You got to stay active. Stay active.
What are the hours for your thrift store and your senior center?
Yeah, our thrift store is open on Tuesday and Saturday only. And it's open from 9 until 1. And then our senior center is open on Tuesday as well. And it's open from 9 until 1, but most people breaks up about noon. The party's usually over by about noon. And so the idea is that you can come to the thrift store, come to the senior center, and all in one trip. Mm-hmm. But so donations actually work better if it's on a Tuesday or Saturday morning, or up until noon, because when items are just left out in the carport that's at the back of our thrift store, it may come as a shock, but people go through there and go through all the donations and help themselves, mm-hmm. and think, oh, well, it's out here, it's for all of us. Well, really it was donated to the thrift store so we could turn it around and put it out for people to come and get it in the front. But some people have no respect for that, and they come in the back and they like to go through it. So if you'd like your donation to make sure that it goes to the people you'd like it to go to, we're going to recommend that you bring it on a Tuesday or on a Saturday when we're staffed.
Okay. That sounds good. Anything else you have going on with the church, or?
Oh, no, that's it.
That's it?
I warned you, we could talk like way too long here. So we have another program that was, we had several that were going just gangbusters. And then when COVID hit, we all shut down. I do say that our church never actually closed. We just went online. We never missed a worship service at all. We just went online. But before then, we had archery lessons going on. And on Sunday afternoon, we had music lessons going on. So it wasn't every week. So like one week we'd have archery. Next week we'd have music, not just for kids, but it was mostly kids would come, but we'd learn how to play guitar. Our administrative council chair actually picked up violin.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's like 50-ish. We won't say, you don't ask ladies how old they are, but picked up violin and is going just, wow, gangbusters on that. And that was picked up at our music lessons. We had a book discussion group. And sadly, I'm saying this, all these are on hiatus right now. And so we would just, but not only Christian books. We had, it all started, our book discussion group started, I used a sermon illustration of a book called The Shack, written by a gentleman named Paul Young. And so a group of people kind of bombarded me after worship and said, Pastor, we need to read that. Let's do it. Let's read it and we'll get together and talk. So we did, excuse me. And then after we had finished discussing that, they said, great, what are we going to read next month? And I said, we're not going to read anything next month. We're done. That was a one-time shot. It's like, no. And so then we just started reading. We read novels. We've read biographies. We've read a little bit of everything. We read The Great Alone, which is being made into a movie, Where the Crawdads Sing is a novel being made into a movie. We read way too much about Nazi Germany for a while. I'm not sure why we read so much about Nazi Germany. Beneath a Scarlet Sky, I think, is one. And then we read the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. So, I mean, it was, which sadly, I cannot recommend, but he figures, why use 10 words when I can use 20 to say the same thing? So, not exactly the most concise autobiography I've ever read.
You gotta thicken the book up. You gotta, put some more to it.
Maybe he was paid by the pound. I don't know. I don't know. We had another program. We still do. We're not meeting this semester. Our English as a Second Language program, and that was primarily for our Spanish-speaking, residents in the area, but not entirely. It's for anyone that wants to speak English as a second language. And we were really partnering with our buddies out at White Bluff Chapel on that. They're some of our best ministry partners out there, and they would help us with teaching. We had teaching the classes. We would keep the kids, the childcare. So when parents come in, young parents, and they want to learn English, well, you can't just hang them up on the coat rack when you come in. We got to do something with the kids. And so we would make sure that we had take care of that. And that's where I was watching the older kids with some folks from White Bluff, and you get attached to the kids, and they bring their band instruments with them, and they'll play their instrument practice, or they'll do their homework. And finally they told us they didn't want us to help them with their homework anymore after maybe we didn't do so good on on one of the projects, but not that I'm dwelling on that. Some people would hang on to that, but if you can't tell, I've already let that go. So.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, we were doing wonderful things with my buddy Shane Metcalf over at Pleasant Hill Missionary Baptist Church, and COVID hit, and we haven't really been able to bounce back. But again, that's just a matter of time until we're back over doing wonderful things with them again. Don't know what we're going to be all doing, but that's one of our predominantly African-American churches in the area. And they threw their doors open and welcomed us just like we were the long-lost cousin they hadn't seen in 20 years. It was wonderful. I can't say enough good things about them. We had our, but sadly, we got to wait till we can get that going again. Had our men's prayer breakfast. This was kind of interesting. Our men's prayer breakfast met over at the Nazarene Church. Okay. So on Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock, we just, instead of having our own little small men's group, we knew they were meeting. And so we just kind of invaded their territory. And we would go and have the Nazarenes and the Methodists. We had some folks from the Cowboy Church up there, some folks from the Church of Christ. I'm trying to think where else we had from Cedar Hill Baptist. We had some folks from there. So it got to be just a hodgepodge of everyone, but we'd meet up at the Nazarene Church. Had a wonderful time. Yeah, all before COVID. Yeah.
Let's see. That's a bummer. Tell me.
It'll be back. It'll be back. We're okay. We're just marking our time, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Sir. Tell me about your youth programs.
Well, I wish I could. Our youth program right now, I like to tell people we have a lot of our youth. The problem is all of them are right now in intermediate and elementary school.
Oh, okay.
So the year that I came to be a pastor here was the year that our entire youth group graduated. We had a lot of seniors. And so I come in and there's zero. I mean, there's not any. There's no youth whatsoever. But we got a lot of kids. And so which is why we had the archery program. We had the music program. We have another time called Grandparent Story Time that I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. So we have a lot of children's activities because all of our youth they're not youth age yet. They're growing into that. Mm-hmm. So when they get old enough, we're going to have an awesome youth program. Right now, we just have an awesome kids program.
My wife and I we took our kids to the grandparents' story time a few times, and yeah, they really enjoyed it. It was good.
And now they're meeting online exclusively on the second and fourth Mondays, at 10 a.m. But you can find them on Facebook anytime after that. But Barbara Meyer is a retired preschool teacher. So her passion is that age group and just absolutely loves it. And the story time, I always figure you can't go wrong with reading a kid a book or telling them a story, doing a craft. And that's the sort of thing that they do. And it's just a really, really, really awesome time.
It's great. Is that on hiatus too? Aside from the online, I suppose.
Yeah, it's we're not meeting in person. We're online on Facebook, so you can find it if you go to King Memorial United Methodist Church Facebook page. You can find the videos out there. And Barbara plans out crafts and things, so you can not only do she'll read a book and tell stories and things of that nature, but also that there's crafts that you can do with your child. Oh, cool. So anybody that's interested in that can look at that and then contact Barbara that way if they have questions about it.
All right. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Anything else that comes to mind?
Oh, you're going to keep asking that. We're going to be here all night. Just cut me off here pretty soon. I'm also involved in the Lake Whitney Ministerial Alliance, and I was the chaplain for 1 year, and that was the coordinator for the retirement centers, the nursing homes, things of that nature, to try to get the different churches to go in and do different things for them. And so then the coordinator for community worship stepped down. And so that's really where my passion is in community worship. So I've been able to do that for a while. You may have heard about the drive-in Easter service that we had out at the high school parking lot.
Yes, I did.
On Easter Sunday morning, sunrise Easter Sunday morning. We probably shouldn't talk too much about that. We had an FM transmitter that I like to think is low enough that we won't have any issues with that. But for a one-time shot, we're okay. We met out there and were able to have all of the pastors that they would they would read the Easter service, and everyone stayed in their cars. That's before we knew anything about COVID. I mean, that was like in March, and we were all just absolutely terrified. Mm-hmm. But we're able to do that. We were supposed to have, the Thanksgiving community service and a big Christmas blowout out at White Bluff. And COVID's really taken its toll on that. We did have the Veterans Day celebration down at the Veterans Memorial here on 933. And we had Randy Marshall, who is the pastor out at White Bluff. Like I said, there's some of our best partners there. That he was actually a retired Air Force chaplain, full bird colonel. And so he was able to deliver our Veterans Day Thanksgiving devotional. And we had Randy Hayes from First Baptist that sang for us. Jay Morris from First Baptist offered a prayer, and then we had the pastor from the First Church of the Nazarene, and Jeremy Page. I couldn't recall his name right off. So we had that event. We had a blessing of the first responders on September 11th of last year. Yeah, not this year. Are you detecting a pattern with a not this year, theme?
Yeah, it's subtle, but I can pick up on it, I think.
You seem like a sharp guy. I thought you might pick up on it. So all these things, it's not that we're not having them. It's just that we didn't get to have them this year. So 9/11 next year, first responders, we're going to bless them all and pray over them and tell them how much we love them and do wonderful things for them. And so we do that. We did as part of the chaplaincy program that did not flourish under me, but when Ronnie Roberts took it over, it's going gangbusters now. So we have a worship service over at Town Hall on the first Sunday. Oh, hang on. Except not this year because of COVID, right? And one of the things we did there that we found out was, of course, pastors think everyone hangs on every word that we say, and everything we say is vitally important. They wanted to sing. So what we just sang. We'd go out there and we just sing every song that they would call it a song, and we'd sing it and just had a great time hanging out with them. And when this all passes, when we're all done with this, we're going back and we'll do that again.
Man.
That was just a lot of fun. So,
it sounds like you guys have a lot of things that are just rocking and rolling, or at least you were, but it sounds like once things step back up, I mean, you guys have a lot of programs, you have the outreach, you're very involved in the community. And once we get the green light to be normal again, sounds like you guys are ready to rock and roll.
That's where we want to be. And we're not looking for the new normal because, you hate to say that, we are in the new normal. So we're trying to figure out how can we pull as much of this back now safely as we can. So our thrift store's going, our senior center's open. Some of the other things we just can't do. It's like, okay, so we won't do those, but we're not going to focus on the fact that this is not the season for that. We're going to wait until it is the right time. And I tell you, the worst thing for me would be, it would be beyond horrible, would be that if I contributed to someone who is at risk of contracting this disease and that they suffered or even died because of it. And, odds are, we're Hill County, odds are that's not going to happen, right? But, so in fact, I lost a friend to COVID, the pastor up at First Methodist Church in Itasca, which is just down the road.
Yeah.
Actually contracted COVID-19 and it took his life. So it's pretty real for me. And I do take it seriously, but I try not to be paranoid. It's not, well, we can't do this because of COVID. With me, it's more like, okay, how do we do this safely? How do we do this in a way that fits in with where we are today? And so instead of saying no, let's figure out how we can say yes and go from there.
That's a great approach. That's a great mentality to have. Can't live in fear. You just got to find a way to work with the situation.
Can't live in fear, refuse to do it. But we're going to go forward, but we're going to do it safely. So that's where we are.
All right. Well, Brad, I really appreciate you taking the time to come and speak with me today and sharing everything that you have going on over at King Memorial and everything you're contributing to the community. Do you have any last words you want to say before we wrap this up for the day?
Oh, nothing. I mean, like I said, we'll sit here and talk all day if you leave it open. So we probably better not do that. But talking about being part of the community, and the thing is, it makes a big difference when you have an awesome community to be a part of. So we try to look at that. It's not that we're serving the community or we're doing this for the community. We look at this as we're doing it with the community.
That's great.
The Lake Whitney area is just a wonderful place to be. It's got some great people. And if we all chip in a little bit, if we all contribute, it's going to be even better. So that's the final word is let's make it even better. Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again. If you want to stick around for a quick minute after we sign off. But other than that, thank you again, Brad, for your time. And thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and please just hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with our new content and give us a like and share us to anyone in the area. Appreciate it. And thank you again.